Okay, hey guys, Thomas Firehard here for another episode of the Ring of Fire 2.0. Now, I was pretty much just going to call these sort of things something else entirely, and maybe I will, but for now, it's just still the Ring of Fire. Anyway, in this episode, I'll be talking about the 2005 New Year's Revolution pay-per-view, or as I've dubbed it for the title of this video, New Year's Meh-volution, because honestly, I think this video is going to be fairly short. You'll obviously notice that I'm not using the camera. It's 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning. And I'm further away from the modem than I usually am by doing this in this room, so yeah, I figured bugger it. Anyway, New Year's Meh-volution, which first pay-per-view of 2005, and thank God they did not keep this pay-per-view going much longer, because 2 pay-per-views in a month always seemed kind of silly to me. Unless it was like, I guess in this case it sort of worked because, like, you know, New Year's Revolution was brand specific. And then they did like, what, 2 or 3 of these and then ditched it? Anyway, I digress. I should probably be getting to that later, shouldn't I? Anyway, I never saw this pay-per-view when it originally aired, so luckily with the WWE Network, cheap plug. Nah, let's face it, you know that's how I'm watching this. Yeah, like, you know, saw the fallout and all that shit, but still. Eugene and Regal versus Christian and Tomko for the World Tag Titles opens the show, and, you know, it wasn't a bad match. I won't say it's a great match, but it wasn't bad. And you know what? Kudos to Eugene for apparently he like really I forget exactly how, but he really fucked up his knee on a drop kick right near the end of the match, and he was a trooper. He kept going. I mean, the match was pretty much ended not like a minute after that or something. Because they realized, yeah, it was just that bad an injury that apparently he needed surgery for whatever it was. Later in the pay-per-view, they say it was like a dislocated knee, but from what I can tell, it was a lot worse than that because it needed surgery. I mean, like, you know, because, well, let's face it, you wouldn't necessarily need surgery to relocate a knee. You just have to, it'd be painful as hell, but you'd probably need to go to hospital to get someone who knows what they're doing to do it, but still. And Regal actually got a busted nose as well. And that was pretty early in the match. I'm pretty sure it was from Tomko. And, you know, he just kept going. Like, it seemed like it legitimately must have been broken. Or at least, you know, because there was blood flowing out of his nose for quite a bit there. It stopped, luckily. It stopped at some point in the match. So it wasn't bleeding the entire thing. Or at least the bleeding sort of slowed down or something. I don't know. Eugene and Regal retained regardless with the worst roll-up I've probably ever seen. But, well, actually, no, probably not their worst. But even then, Eugene had a bung knee, so the roll-up wasn't going to look especially good anyway. So basically, they retained the titles, but then they had to drop them anyway, I'm pretty sure, later, because Eugene just couldn't compete. And then Regal got paired up with Tajiri, and the rest is history. Trish Stratus versus Lita. It says this match went for 3 minutes, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia because it has the match times and all that. But this really did not feel like it went for close to 4 minutes. This felt like it was over in about under a minute. Maybe there was some brawling in that I just didn't pay attention to, or that I've just forgotten by now, because I think this was 2 days ago that I watched this. in any case, the match was fairly short because Lita went for a Luther's press off the apron, landed awkwardly, and damaged her knee. So that's 2 matches, 3 injuries, basically. Really, sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Blah. Regal with a busted nose, Eugene with a fucked up knee, and Lita with a fucked up knee. So very bad luck in these first 3 matches. Because yeah, like it was really bad with Lita. It looked like she couldn't really even walk on it, to the point that they just had to do a really rushed finish where Lita attempted to go for a twist of fate. I think it was just a normal twist of fate, but Trish kind of just pushed her off or something. Oh no, sorry. It would have been that she went for the DDT, but Trish blocked it, and Lita goes down, gets back up, and Trish hits her with probably one of the better chick kicks I've ever seen her do. And the match is just kind of over. And the weird thing is this was a legit injury from what I can tell, but the way Trish Stratus plays it is great in a way that she's not breaking character. Normally, they would break character, or they would, possibly break character, even if it was just slightly, so they could be like, "You're all right, you're all right." But no, she does not break character. She's just like, "Yep, well, that was easy." That is seriously the look on her face, like, and I almost think in a way, I almost thought, well, maybe she wasn't supposed to win, but they had to have her win because they realized Lita's really badly injured. But I guess at the same time, they probably would have just had Lita retain and then have to vacate the title, and then Trish wins it later. But Trish won the title because this was a women's title match, if I didn't bring that up. And yeah, it basically just goes to the back, not really giving a fuck, which is exactly why I think that that title change was supposed to happen anyway, because otherwise she would have just been like, "Oh fuck, really? I won?" Yeah, could have been a good match, but unfortunately Lita got injured, so yeah, like she seemed to be able to walk on it fair enough with aid after the match. She was kind of limping at first, but then she could basically hold up her own weight with a bit of help. Which it really does suck to see wrestlers get injured, because even if I don't like them, I don't like seeing wrestlers get legitimately injured. So it's not like, oh, you can't, how dare you get injured? Now I have to sit through a match that'll probably be not as good as it would have been because now you're injured. But I guess if sort of funny, not really kind of thing that happened after this is when the next match, Shelton Benjamin versus Maven for the Intercontinental title, happened or was about to start or whatever, the commentators hope and pray that there is not going to be another injury, which is kind of sad, but in a way it's almost sort of funny, but like, not intentionally funny. They weren't saying it to get a laugh, but it's just like, wow, they've had such a bad record so far that they're hoping another injury doesn't happen. That's got to suck. Not really much to say about this match, or these matches technically. Apparently, the first Shelton Maven match went for 6 minutes, but I can guarantee you that 5 or so of those minutes were Maven cutting a promo. I mean, it wasn't a bad promo, and honestly, I even thought that even it was just supposed to be making up for the fact that Trish and Lita pretty much didn't even hit 5 minutes. So they were making up for time by having at least that's what I thought. It might not have been the case at all, because, as soon as Maven gets back in the ring after chewing out the Puerto Rican crowd, he basically gets pinned immediately. Like, just Shelton gets him in a roll up, 1, 2, 3, over. And then Maven spends about a minute, goading Benjamin into giving him a rematch. basically doing the whole you have lady parts kind of crap that I don't think wrestlers do that much these days, or at least not in WWE. Maybe because they think they'll offend people. And that match is over in 5 seconds, apparently. Yeah, Mayman's successful in getting Shelton to come back, but then he immediately gets T-bone power slammed, or whatever the hell that's actually it's like a T-bone power slam or whatever it's called. And it's over in 5 seconds. So yeah, which that honestly really bugs me. Like if Shelton and Maven had gone for like a few more minutes after Maven's little rant at the crowd, then I would have been okay with the first bit, or at least okay with the rematch bit, because then Maven would actually be worn out enough to have a finisher put him away that quickly. But like, I feel good about Shelton Benjamin getting over on a pay-per-view twice, technically, but I actually like Maven, so it really, really sucked to see him get shafted so badly. Because he really did get shafted a lot. Anyway, moving on. Which, wow, I've already gone through the first 5 matches, technically, if you count both of those Shelton Maven ones as 2 separate matches, which technically they are, but still. 6 matches, really nothing to write home about. Muhammad Hassan versus Jerry Lawler. Hassan wins with a sort of complete shot / reverse STO sort of thing. I guess it's more of a reverse STO or like a reverse Russian leg sweep or whatever the hell you want to call it. Which I honestly prefer him using that to the camel clutch, so thank God. I mean, he did use the camel clutch several times, but Lawler never tapped. And another thing, WWE, please, I hope you've learned your lesson from this, because, as I go further along, if I do just go from 2005 and keep going, if there are any other matches where there's either 2 commentators in a match, so Lawler and Ross or whatever, or Lawler wrestling and JR's in his friggin' corner or whatever, like it was with this, please, for the love of God, put 2 different commentators on commentary to commentate the fucking match. I have been to live wrestling, and yes, it's okay to have matches without commentary if you're fucking there. Because then you're not hearing the commentary anyway, unless it's live commentary on the indies. And even then, some indies just don't have commentary, or they do, but they add it into post-production. This was kind of just boring because there was no commentary to go along with it, and it was just a very boring match. About half of it was just Muhammad Hassan scoop slamming Jerry Lawler. There's like seriously at one point where he scoop slams him like 6 times in a row, and it's just like, really? This is the kind of match we're gonna deal with? I mean, come on, like, Lawler's not completely horrible. Even then, even at that point in his career, he wasn't completely horrible in the ring. So, come on. That's a bit of a cop-out. I am glad that Muhammad Hassan went over, but, And I do find it hilarious that the Puerto Rican crowd does actually favor Lawler instead of the American who's technically being anti-American somewhat, justifiably so, because that's the irony. With me, the Muhammad Hassan gimmick always came across as, and it pretty much blatantly was, we're getting treated like our Arab American people are being treated like shit. Stop treating us like shit. But they were heels because they did heel-ish stuff, and they shat on America and all this other stuff. But the thing that I loved was that they were Arab American, not just supposed to be from the Middle East. They were Arab Americans. Even though, if you want to be technical, the guy playing Muhammad Hassan was actually Italian Americans. It really sucks that he never actually got to win the title, but oh well. Kane versus Snitsky. It wasn't too bad. This was the next match. Probably went on longer than it should have, though. It went apparently about 11.5 minutes, or just over 11.5 minutes. And honestly, I would have cut it down a bit, because you could really see in the last few minutes of the match, Kane and Snitsky just sort of running on empty. I guess it just means that Kane really wasn't in peak position, peak physical condition at that point in his career, which is weird because he was pretty damn fit in 2004, and this is early 2005. So, okay. I don't know. Maybe it was just how they were wrestling, the fact that they were really belting each other around and slamming each other, and they're pretty big guys, so it's taking more out of them than the usual picking up guys half their size kind of thing. But yeah, you can really see them start to slow down later in the match, and they have a few rest spots so they can recover a bit. And Kane wins with the tombstone after, honestly, I kind of like the way they did that, in that Snitsky never kicked out of the chokeslam because the chokeslam never happened. Snitsky kept reversing somehow escaping a chokeslam, but every time Kane went for it. So Kane was just like, well, fuck this then, and eventually just hit him with the tombstone and won. So, that works. I'm surprised they didn't have him get Snitsky and sort of essentially do what Snitsky did to him at Taboo Tuesday 2004 as a way to write Snitsky off for a while until they thought of something else for him to do, because I'm pretty sure from then on he just kind of lingered around doing nothing for ages. So, yeah. Now, the main event. Wow, I've gone through this pretty quick, haven't I? Yikes. Almost seems like I should be trying to come up with random, pointless bullshit to say, because I just can't think of anything to say. The main event, probably, you know what, I'm just going to say it now. Yeah, the main event was the best match of the night. Pretty much because, well, hello, it was an elimination chamber. Of bloody course it was going to be. Like, come on. There might have been some other matches that could have been, but yeah. It is what it is. And I really, in a way, this is actually probably, it's hilarious that this was the third elimination chamber match, and yet it was the first that did not have one of the actual internal chamber things get broken. Like, people got smashed up on the sides and slammed on the sides and all that sort of shit, but no one actually got smashed through one of the. And really, it kind of surprises me, because I was half thinking that Batista was going to pick someone up over his shoulder and spear them through one of them or something like that. But I guess they decided, well, fuck it, we've done that twice. We've had Jericho go through one. Well, actually, no, I think it was Jericho both times. Could be wrong. So they just went, fuck it. Yeah, it was definitely Jericho both times. I could be wrong. If I am, correct me. So let's see. Edge gets eliminated first.
then Benoit, then Jericho, then Batista, then Orton and Triple H. And you know what? I honestly like how this match. Well, it's hilarious. This match goes for like almost 35 minutes, but it takes about like 20 minutes for everyone to get out because they moved the time up to 5 minutes, 5-minute intervals between when guys come out. Which is kind of odd, but yeah, I guess they figured, well, we've got to make this 20 minutes because this isn't a cross-promotional pay-per-view like we do the other ones at, so we can't have 3-minute intervals or whatever it was beforehand. So it's 20 minutes before Batista even gets in the ring. And I honestly love how I'll probably go on about this again if I go backwards and go to 2004. But which I honestly at this point I probably won't. I'll just do that like another month. Yeah, like they really were starting to, as of even as early as Survivor Series the previous year, were really starting to hint towards the Batista Triple H scenario. Even having Batista basically pinned by Orton, and Triple H was starting to get up to maybe help him, and then just drops down because, well, fuck it. And then Batista helps Triple H win anyway because he doesn't know any of this, and then they bring it up later, and he finds out, and blah 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 blah. And yeah, Triple H wins, becomes a 10-time champion, which honestly I would have preferred if he just not lost the title, because in the first place, because the setup for this whole match was the title was vacated because of a double finish in a triple threat match between Triple H, Edge, and Benoit. And basically, they just went, well, fuck it, we'll just vacate the title, and then Triple H wins it back. So it's like, why? It seemed a bit pointless if Triple H was the champion, then they vacate it, and then he just wins it back. Honestly, I would have just had someone else win it, and then have Triple H win it like just a month before WrestleMania or something like that. Or even have just, someone else wins and then the title changes back. Even though I really fucking hate short title reigns, I would have accepted it because it would have just been Triple H being champion, losing it because of because it gets vacated, and then wins it back. The same fucking, like pretty much like a month or two later. It's like, really? I'm pretty sure it was like December or something that it was probably vacated. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it would have been like November, actually. So, yeah, there was like a full month where there was no World Heavyweight Champion. And, yeah, like, okay. At least there was maybe a full month without a champion, but I really would have preferred they either just kept the belt on him and then he'd retained in an elimination chamber, or they vacated it and someone else won, like Jericho out of nowhere, or Orton, or Benoit, or even Edge. I don't give a fuck. Just someone other than Triple H had won, and then dropped the title back to Triple H at the Royal Rumble. So most likely Orton. I would have been totally fine with that compared to what they actually did, but hey. So overall thoughts, yeah, this was a pretty meh pay-per-view compared to all the ones that I'd watched previously, because I started with 2002 and I've been working my way through and finally finished off the 2004 pay-per-views when I got the network back. about a few days ago. And yeah, like this would probably be one of the most underwhelming pay-per-views that I've watched in that entire like from 2002 to the, I guess, now 2005 stuff that I have seen, which this is the only 2005 one I have seen so far out of the haven't already seen it ones. And yeah, it's kind of sad because like usually brand specific ones can be pretty good, but or like, you know, sometimes they will be a bit meh, but even then there's at least a few matches that blow it out of the water and stuff like that. But yeah, this was, the injuries didn't help, but really even then, like the Intercontinental title stuff was just, what the fuck was going on with that? But the Elimination Chamber pretty much was the runaway hit of the event. Like, I think the crowd was hot technically the entire night, but I wanted to like this pay-per-view, but I just couldn't. Like, I just couldn't love it anyway. It's not. I'll put it this way: would I rewatch it again? Only for the Elimination Chamber. I'll say that. There's nothing in this pay-per-view that I would really want to rewatch, which is sad, but oh well, can't win them all. So next time, I will be talking about the Royal Rumble 2005, which I've been meaning to watch or get on DVD or something for ages. Because again, this is the time when I was legit following wrestling. 2005 was about the first time that I was properly, like 2004, 2005 was when I was really following it. I sort of got into wrestling in about 2002, 2003, but it was 2004 that I really was actually following it. So this stuff from this way on is stuff that I just didn't see, but pay-per-views that I didn't see, but I saw everything else basically. Or at least most of the other stuff anyway. So yeah, Royal Rumble next. I'm kind of at least looking forward to the Shawn Michaels Edge match, but you know, who knows how. I'm just really hoping that it's better than this pay-per-view because this pay-per-view really was disappointing. So yeah, I think that's enough rambling and shit. So I will head off and watch the next pay-per-view, and depending on how long that takes to watch, you might see me again in a few hours because I'm pretty much going to do these as I watch them, hopefully. If not, like, you know, generally going to try doing them as often as possible so I can actually get through the whole fucking year. And possibly I'll, I think at this point I'll just go 05, and then when I'm finished with 2005, I'll go to 06 and keep going from there. I will not, in case you're wondering, I will not be covering No Way Out 2005 because I've already seen that pay-per-view and own it on DVD, and it's just like, this is more about pay-per-views that I hadn't previously seen. So I'm Thomas Fireheart. I will see you guys next time.